Hey guys, welcome to Two Guys and Hockey Talk with my co-host beside me, Pavel the Cat, now called our new insider at Two Guys.
I really know nothing, but thank you. Thank you for the compliment. Evan, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fabulous. A little change tonight. We apologize. We had hoped to have Lucas Willette from the Utah Outliers of the USPHL on with us. We unfortunately had to cancel tonight's episode with him, but we will have him on at another time. So hang on, guys. He is on a scoring spree right now down in Utah. Their team is playing incredible. So I guess we're just going to give him a little time to get himself a little more acclimated. Hey guys, how you doing out there? Hey Kyle, what's up? Oh, look at this guy. He's all about the Bruins, baby.
They are on fire right now. Good for you, Kyle. Good for you. You're following a team that's elite. I think Mike Smith, a fellow friend of the show, who I'm sure will be tuning in, is probably very excited about what the Bruins have been doing. A lot of people wrote him off. A lot of people. We'll get into that. So grab your bevy.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get her done.
Out there. Welcome to season 4, episode 9. It's just me and Evan, and we hope no overtime. Cheers. We are going to break down as much news as possible because there's a lot going on. Evan, where do you want to start? Where do you want to open the bag?
Absolutely.
Deep into the dirt.
Okay, well, before we get going, just a quick note for everybody. If you're following us, even if it's a podcast. Hey, bud, can you go out and come back in? You've blacked out on me again. Not sure why that happens on us occasionally. So anyway, everyone, just a heads up, every Wednesday, we have right here, 7 o'clock. This is our live show, Mountain Standard Time. So follow us on our streams. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on our YouTube channel. But also follow us on the Sports Network. You can check out everything that's going on over at the Sports Network, baby. They got everything outside of hockey. If you said, man, I'm bored of hockey, they got wrestling. They got a whole bunch of other topics to be able to share your way. So make sure you follow, like, subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter. So mine is @RevanEv, and you can follow my partner here, Pavel the Cat. Where can they follow you on Twitter?
You can follow us on Twitter at hockey_2, and we can have dialogue, discussions, healthy debates.
Okay, first question before we get going.
This is the beautiful H-do. This is what happens when you have a child and you are a baby, an infant, and you don't have time to cut it. This is my Elliot Friedman beard, right? This is what's coming around.
You should ask Zill what's with the dress when she's driving, right? You know, I'm sure that what she wears is not quite appropriate always for the camera while she's driving. I hear she drives barefoot. Okay, that's an inside story.
Zylstra, if you have some tips for a hairstylist, I would take it unless you recommended them first to Evan because they didn't do any favors to him.
Right on, Zill. Okay, guys. So again, tonight, you have any thoughts or stuff you want to tap in? We're going to have a better chance. Sometimes we have a harder chance interacting with you guys just because we can't always stop a guest midstream. Some of our guests have short sentences and some have long. We have a ton of guests coming on the show. Can I just mention, so we have some other guests that are coming in the next weeks. We just today booked in Liam McGuire. He is the #1 NHL historian and trivia tester of all time. This guy knows everything when it comes to trivia and the NHL. He's been buddies. He's wrote several books. He normally charges. He's coming on this show as a free gig to volunteer one-off with us. So you're going to be able to trivia this guy, which I bet you what should we call it? Since his name is Liam McGuire, you can look him up. We'll post some stuff a little later for you guys on our site. But maybe challenge we'll call it the Liam Challenge. See if anyone can get a fact by him that he may not know, or if they have any question on NHL history. I mean, it's phenomenal. So we're really happy to have him on the show. For Calgary Flame fans, all you Flame fans. So we have Jeff Davison coming on, former councilman that was a part of the proposed Calgary Arena deal that fell apart. He's got some inside information that he says he's all open to share, stuff that may not have got into the news of why things fell apart. Plus, he also knows people who are working on a new deal. So we're going to be having him on also in a couple weeks. We have Buffalo Sabres talk we're going to be linking in with. We're signing right now, just working at connecting a date up for the Columbus Blue Jackets with some of their writers. So we have a ton of stuff that we're going to cover. And we're going to try to keep our guests down to around 30 minutes if we can for most of them. So we still get a chance to update you on stuff. So, okay, I'm going to give you the first start here so that you're not busy trying to text all your favorite fans out there, but you're actually in on here. You guys, once in a while, you're going to notice us looking down. And we're looking down because we're talking to you. We're communicating. That's what we're supposed to do.
I'm paying my taxes.
Okay. Pavel, this happened. Let's get some old information out early on here. Paul Bissonnette, a while back, and I believe this is about 4 weeks back, had posted or tweeted about female viewership and that it was up. Did you remember this one? Because
I do. Yeah.
And he said because they find the male players are attractive, so it's going to boost female viewership. How is that okay with the NHL? Give me your thoughts on this.
I mean, I understand what he was trying to say. I think he just poorly said it on ESPN, on their network, certainly there's a reason why some athletes are good looking and, people, people like to view, attractive athletes play.
Yeah.
But that being said, that's not why women watch hockey. Maybe there's a percentage, but I don't know how you find that out. Like, how do you do that study? It's a very awkward way of saying, like, 50% is a weird number, right? Or percentage that he said. So I think the NHL kind of sweeps a lot of things under the rug. So I don't think they really thought much of it.
It's sexist. He's making a remark. And the NHL is just like, okay, they don't come out. They don't say something. They use him in their promotion. I mean, he's still connected into how do you guys feel that Bissonnette can just say that, oh, well, female viewership is up? Maybe I'm just trying to, cause a little drama here on two guys. But, like, how do you really feel about that, though? Like, honestly, is that not objectifying women again and just saying, oh, well, they don't know about hockey, but they sure like a good-looking male hockey? I don't even think most male hockey players are good-looking. In fact, most of them have their teeth are missing, and they look like they're from a circus.
Well, you clearly have been paying attention to their looks, which is why you know nothing about hockey rather than their actual gameplay. But okay. I think he's a personality. I think, he does it for almost like the YouTube star sensation. He's out there. He's trying to say provocative things. He is very colorful, and I think he'd be a great addition to the show if he ever decided to hear us out and come on Two Guys in Hockey Talks.
And then I call him out for it, eh?
But I don't know. I mean, you guys can let us know. I think it just came out poorly. I don't think it was probably thing, but Zylstra. But I don't know if this is a joke or if you're being sarcastic, given that you just questioned my hairdo. So, but we'll take it.
Well,
I'll take it.
Hey, I just want to say that our viewership, so through our Facebook viewers anyway, which is like 85%, 90% of all our viewers come through the Facebook area. Interesting enough, supposedly 23 to 26% are women that follow us here. And that's between the ages of 30 and 55. So I'm 52. And you're not going to tell anyone?
I'm 36.
There you go.
I just celebrated my birthday.
So you reach the younger, I'll reach the older.
How young? Because I'm not 18. Pink Whitney. There you go.
Well, I said 30. Most of our women followers are between 30 and 55. So, right. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, let's get to a different conversation. Let's start talking right now about the Toronto Maple Leafs. Cool. So, production from this team has dropped. There is fear all over Maple Leaf Nation. There's talk about Mitch Marner. I have some stuff I'd like to talk around him about. Right. Maybe you have some stuff we can talk about with the coach situation. Yeah. You go ahead, and why don't you hit on some stuff around the Maple Leafs?
There's a lot of narratives around the Maple Leafs, and both can be true about what's been happening. Have they had a slow, poor start against mostly non-playoff teams from last year? That is true. Is it the end of the world for some fandom in that area? Yes. But I think in general, if you stay the course, this is still a playoff team in the Atlantic, no matter how competitive it is. And that team can still perform, score, and make an impact. The big question is, and I don't know if the internal management has to deal with this, is if they believe in Sheldon Keefe's vision for what the systems are in play for that team, and if the dynamics between coach and player, so Mitch Marner and Sheldon Keefe right now, is okay enough to get through this rough patch. If not, you have bigger questions moving forward. But I will tell everyone here, every team has players on it with coaches that have argued to the point where they can yell at each other. They don't like each other, but they still perform. You know, you alluded to it a few episodes ago, so make sure you check it out, about Daryl Sutter and his systems in Calgary and what that did for Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk, right? They still played hard for him and had elite seasons last year. They don't always agree with the systems, but they played. So I think in Toronto, the panic needs to die down. They need to play their game. They definitely do need to boost up their back end. I think that they're missing some pieces. And I got to be honest, they've done well with finding Samsonov. Murray, we'll see what happens when he gets back. But Samsonov has been elite for them. And I don't think we need to Steve Dangle this situation where we panic and lose our mind. So your thoughts?
Did you say Steve Dangle?
Steve Dangle. Yeah,
Steve Dangle, the situation.
He's a fun guy, and I watch some of his stuff, and it's great. But he can sometimes go to an 11, right? He's really in crisis mode.
Okay, before I go into a little bit here, he says, if the Leafs don't make the playoffs, that's going to end the first round game 7 losing streak. Have to look at the positives here. Okay, yeah, you're right. They're going to make the playoffs. I think we can all agree with that with you, Aaron, here. Okay, so recently with the Ducks, two goals in the Anaheim Ducks loss that they had were directly related to Mitch Marner. It's all over the papers, all in the stories. Now, it was because of his defensive breakdowns that he was having during that game.
One of them. The other one was just an accidental bounce.
It was still his defensive breakdown, though. It's still related on him. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. So now hang on here, though. When he left, he says he holds himself accountable. He says that with the rest of now, hear me out, everyone. He says he holds himself accountable, but when he walks down the corridor, remember, he gets benched, right?
Yes.
He gets pulled off. And okay, but hang on. He gets benched. Everyone's talking about it. And his reaction, everyone ties this in. Well, not everyone, but most of those that are following, making up these stories, is that he threw a hissy fit when he walked out to the back dressing room.
Yeah, he grabbed the stick and smashed it. You can see it.
Throws a hissy fit. Now, you say he just smashed it, whatever. I say a hissy fit, right? Okay, so now let's watch this. Is that okay? Would we all say that that's okay to throw a hissy fit?
Yeah, if you're pissed. Yeah.
Okay. Now, does everyone else agree? Because some people wouldn't agree. They'd say that he's not being responsible. Like, why is he acting like a child? But I want to go back, and I'm going to back up Pavel with what he said because, of course, I was trying to make a point, trying to catch Pavel in this one with his favorite team, the Edmonton Oilers. And we know that. My favorite team, but what do you mean they're not your favorite team? Okay, come on. Okay, so anyway, when Jim Matheson was interviewing and says, Leon Draisaitl, why are you so pissy? I'm not pissy, right? I'll deal with you. So, but everyone got up. A lot of people, they all defended Draisaitl. But really, it was actually unprofessional the way he handled it. And I think everyone needs to realize there are emotions in the game of hockey. So I'm going to stand behind Marner with that. However, there is rumblings that are going on behind what's happening here. What is actually going on is a lot more behind the scenes. We know Torts even today has come out and actually backed up Keefe, right? So anyway, it's very common. You're upset. Exactly. So I'm just going to mention, yes, I'll throw that up there. One can be upset with their own selfish play or their lack of discipline.
I mean, you see it all the time. Players get upset whether in games or in playoffs, and they smash their sticks after a bad play and it's a goal, and they smash their sticks, or goalies will smash their sticks after a game because they're upset at their performance because they expect better of themselves. These are the best of the best, and they want to play.
Absolutely.
The problem is that Toronto is a microcosm of everyone watching every move, every word, every play. And so they're pickpocketing Mitch Marner, who himself is from that area. So he grew up a Leafs fan. And to wear that jersey, that logo, is a big honor and a big privilege. But there's a great responsibility with that. So I believe that with Mitch Marner, he wears his heart on his sleeve. And sometimes that pressure can get to it because it's a lot. That being said, he is paid a lot to perform, and he has to be mindful of those mistakes. Now, you can make mistakes in the game, and it happens. You can give it away. Things happen. It's part of the game. You're not having the best. Things go on behind the scenes that you can't tell. But if it sometimes results in a goal or the loss of a game, that's when people will hound on you. And fans have a right, if they're paying good money, to hound on them. Now, we do not condone threats. We do not condone hate or attacks or things like that on people verbally. It's just you disagree, you don't like his play, leave it at that. You can have civil discourse. But when you start attacking people verbally, that's not cool. And they did that to Nazem Kadri, right? And people didn't like that. And, they ran him somewhat out of town, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. So, okay, Mitch Marner, this is what I'm going to tell you all. You guys aren't going to like hearing this if you're a Maple Leaf fan, or maybe you will, but get yourself prepared because they're going to make changes in Toronto, and Mitch Marner is going to be who they're going to be trading. I see them moving Mitch Marner out. No, I'm telling you, they are going to be moving Mitch Marner. They are not going to be sticking with what's in there. I'm just calling something now before everyone else jumps on the bandwagon. Most people have their ideas of William Nylander. Nylander is not the problem. They're struggling with the type of game that Marner plays that's complementary. It's okay when everything's going well, but when they're needing that defensive game, Marner is not that player, and it changes Matthews' game when he's playing with Marner, when Marner's not playing that defensive type of game and they're struggling. It's early. I'm not worried. I still expect a point per game this season, a minimum from Marner, but he is going to free up space. He's going to get him a first, and he's going to get him a high pick. So consider this. I think you're looking at an Eichel-style trade with somewhere else in the league. So you can start imagining, but that's what you're looking at. If not, sometime near the end of the season, it'll like around trade deadline. Not trade deadline, sorry, at the draft. It's going to come just before the season starts. It'll be in the off season because they're going to try and make a run still. They're not going to make it. And I'm sorry for Leafs Nation because I actually, unlike some other people, do feel bad for the Leaf Nation that this would be a hard thing to swallow. You're excited for your team, and then to see the team come out so bland to start the year.
Yeah, but they came out bland last year, and then they ended up going on a 15-2 run. So this team is capable.
Not Matthews. Not Matthews. Not Matthews. Matthews came out flying. Last year, he started his season. That's how he got go. And so if you look at Matthews,
but their record as a team was similar to what it is this year.
Oh, by the way, where's all the Matthew lovers out there? I'm not noticing them on Twitter right now. So all those that called him for Hart Trophy again and the best goal scorer in the league, listen, folks, you got to get behind your player, even when he's not playing or performing the way you thought he should. All right, so Zylstra is saying...
Question then, just before we wrap it up, and people can let us know.
Okay.
Evan, because I think they'll blow up that team if they don't make the first round. But what is success for the Toronto Maple Leafs? Is it cup or bust, or is it getting past the second round?
I think long as they get into the second round, they'll be okay. Third round is what they really want. They want a minimum quarter.
And you think that's acceptable to Leafs Nation? Just one round?
No, I don't think it's fully acceptable, but the team will keep working with what they got if they can get through the first round.
I don't think so.
Here,
I think
here we got Aaron. Hey, they want to talk. So obviously, guys, the Leafs are 10 games in. They're struggling hard with their weaker goaltending tandem. I'm not 100% sold to make the playoffs. Whoa!
Big take from Aaron.
Okay, man. We hear it.
Maybe if they had a beard.
Now, Zilstra's saying the exact opposite here. She thinks that they will not miss the playoffs, and it's all about if they can win a round, and that is exactly what I say too. If they don't win a round, Marner's gone. If they can get into the second round, they might find other ways to clear that cap. We could go on and on about this, but let's. Before I go on, now I'm not touching in. Key just came in. Hey, Key. By the way, guys, Key is with the Sports Empire Network. She helps do a lot of work for us behind the scenes. Thanks, Key. And she is an avid Flyer fan. As much as she follows all other sports, she loves the Flyers.
Torts has got that team playing well. I'm very impressed. And Carter Hart has unreal numbers. He could be a Vezina candidate this year.
And hey, I just want to throw a plug out there, guys, to follow Jamie Baskow over at Flyers Nitty Gritty. He's been doing a great job promoting the stuff that we're doing. Even brought up our show early on and how he discussed early on what was happening in the Torts world. So follow him for a field to get all updates around the Flyers. So again, thanks, Jamie Baskow. Okay, guys. So why don't we just kind of shift over, because we're talking about a lack of production. So I want you guys to look behind me right now. We're talking about a lack of production in Toronto, but I want to talk about Calgary. So if we start talking about Calgary, now, if you're a Flames fan, what has happened? Are you concerned about Huberdeau? And are you concerned about what's happening with Lindholm? Now, you're not a Flames fan, so I'm not actually asking you. I want to know what other people are thinking. Because Huberdeau was coming in to replace 115-point Johnny Gaudreau, and he has not performed to what they thought. But Sutter, now, did you hear the notes, the quick notes that Sutter said on his comments on Huberdeau? Can you share them with us? What was his remark
during the in-game where he had to go to the bathroom? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So go ahead and share that if people don't know that one, and then I'll go into the other.
They asked why Huberdeau had to leave so early after the first period versus the Edmonton Oilers, and he's like, I don't know, he probably had to go take a poop. I'm PGing it here, but yeah.
Yeah, I had to go because we'll just say it. He said he had to go take a shit. Yeah. Because he probably had to take a shit.
I love Sutter, man. Straight, cutthroat, to the point. That's what you need more of. But you talk about the comments because I'm not as familiar with
the comments I was referring to is his support of Huberdeau is saying that he plays a good 200-foot game. He says most of you don't even pay attention to, is what Sutter talked about. Sutter really likes Huberdeau's 200-foot game. He's really liked Lindholm's 200-foot game. And while they're not producing the heavy points, say that they both were producing on their various teams last year, one in Calgary and one in Florida, he has no worries or concerns. Should they be worried, though? Is this just Sutter just talking and just trying to deflect off of them?
No, because I think Sutter wants people to play a team structure play, and Calgary's doing very well. They've started off strong. They've had a good season. I mean, Brad Treliving did the best he could over the off season to replacing those things. Not to mention, Kadri's having an unreal season, so he's really stepped up and really performed. It's not about individual accolades. I mean, I don't think Huberdeau cares that much about it. It's more about playing as a team, and they're scoring. The points will come, just like in Toronto. It comes with time, and especially with Huberdeau being on a new team, he's adjusting, right? He's got new line mates. Right, he's got new wingers with him. It's a whole new structure. Florida and Joe, who follows the show and sometimes comes in a little bit later because she's out in Florida. She talks about how he played better there, but he had a different system in place with a different coach and a different style. So I'm not worried about a Calgary Flames fan, and they're performing. I think he only has one even strength goal at 5v5, 5-on-5. But again, like he'll get there. He'll get there. Again, I don't take too much stock into 10 games. There is some understanding of where teams are at with 10 games. But like Brian Burke said a few years back in his book, it's around American Thanksgiving that we can get a sense of not only who's going to tentatively be in the playoffs, but where teams are at and moving forward, what the season should look like for each of them.
That's fair. Hey, so that's my comment. I was talking here. So Nick made a quick comment, and this is kind of what you mentioned too. How many games in? He says, having 2 games in 9 days hasn't helped him much recently. With less games. That does affect a team that's on a roll. We saw that with quite a few teams even last year. And then, Aaron makes a good point here too, that, Huberdeau is really a monster, and to keep him off the score sheet's going to be tough. So I would tend to agree with most of that. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say Nick is a big Flames fan, so we have internal little dialogue about the Battle of Alberta when we chat. So I feel for Nick for having to cheer for the Flames, but, it can't all be perfect.
Well, Nick, Nick, I know there's less Flame fans around you than normal, but, there's always a shoulder you can go cry on sometimes when you get let down. Hey, I gotta say, man, this year, Tortorella, Sutter, coaches, Boudreau, a whole bunch of them, they are so good at entertaining us now, with the comments that they give to the press. They must have just said, you know what, if the players are going to have no personality, if there's no Jeremy Roenick's or Brett Halls, we're going to do it. And I love it. It deflects. And to me, the coaches should be in the limelight. I love it when they do something different. And it adds personality, Like
I like the comment Boudreau made just before the preseason of the vote for the most handsome coach, which, again, to revert back to what Paul Bissonnette was chatting about, well, somebody voted for the most handsome. Why? Nobody asked for it, but okay. And I know we chatted about it, but I think, when they asked him, because he ended up being, I believe, 16th. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. He ended up saying, well, that person who did that survey must have been blind.
Well, Sutter was the number 2 most handsome, wasn't he?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, man, Jay Woodcroft and then Sutter. I was like, okay, was it all of Alberta voting? Is that why in the NHL voting? Like, it obviously was created out of Calgary or something like that, It had to be along that line. So, yeah, no, some really good news along that line. Hey, guys, let me just take a few minutes. I just want to go ahead and take a few minutes and update you guys right now on my Revs Top 15. So last week I kind of touched base on the number 1 and 2. So this is my early ranking. My Revs Top 15 is based on where I see them having the best careers, not in the first 5, not in a mock draft, but the top careers. And so I have Michkov and Bedard at the top. Now, I am going to let you know in my mock draft, however, I have number 3, Adam Fantilli. So Adam Fantilli, I want to take a few minutes and just talk about him for a sec. So I have him 3 in a career, but, if Russia doesn't figure things out in the next couple of years here, Michkov may not have much of a career when it comes to North America, and Fantilli could be that person, but we'll see how things go. But, man, Fantilli is taking off. This guy is big. He's strong. So, first of all, he's 6'2" and 187 pounds. So he's just turned 18. He's a center who's a left shot. Something that you guys need to know, this guy can take pucks to the wall and into that interior. And this guy does it with force, and he does it with ease, and yet he does it at high speeds. He can beat you along the wall, on the cycle. He can beat you carrying it in all rotations around the perimeter. Now, everyone is ranking him between 2, 3, and 4, anywhere in there, which tells me where I have him ranked is likely pretty close to where he is going to go regardless. And so I just want to say this for all of you. I know we've had some questions on sharing different stuff. And what are you doing in the middle of my thing? You just keep moving your face around. Okay. I don't know what you're doing there. Just got some weird things going. Okay. And now it looks like you're staring at me. Can you talk, please, for a moment? Oh, he's frozen. Guys, I have no idea what's happening to my partner here. Okay, so let me finish off with Adam Fantilli. So anyway, Adam Fantilli, I believe he is hang on here. I'm going to have to stop myself for a moment. Okay, do I kick you off the show? I'm not here
to I don't know what's going on. I apologize, everyone. I'm clearly having a lot of technical difficulties tonight. Seriously, I thought I paid my internet bills, but clearly I did not. So if you guys can Vimo me,
who thinks I should ban that guy from the studio? He just gave me an option. Okay, let me finish off my Fantilli rant.
Carry on. I apologize. I really interrupted my colleague who knows something about prospects.
Okay, so I clearly think he's going number 2 overall, regardless. And I just want to say, I know some people out there, you guys think that that they'll wait, Arizona pick second, that they'll push back or something, and they're going to take Mishkov because they can wait. I'm telling you right now, Aaron, not Aaron. Sorry, Aaron. I just saw your name listed there, but when we were talking earlier, Jordan, I know it's real. You've always felt strong on that. Let me tell you why. Because he's in Michigan, and they can let Arizona can send him back for 1 or 2 more years while they're waiting for the arena and get him in. And he's also a big player. He would be more of a player, and this guy would be the perfect fit, I believe, in a place like Arizona. So I do truly believe in my mock draft. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm helping you know who to pick right now for the end of the year mock draft. Adam Fantilli, he is your number 2. And right now, he is the number 2 player. And if you went by this season alone, you'd be having a decision, do you take him or Connor Bedard? By the way,
Connor Bedard.
Well, if you were taking the 2 from having Nope right now, you would be having a hard time saying that with a player that size that's playing as well as he is. Like, think about 8 games, 8 goals, NCAA. He's playing with men, ladies and gentlemen, and 10 assists. He's got 18 points more. He's got 2.25 points per game in the NCAA playing for Michigan. And this year, Michigan is not the same team that they were with Power and Beniers and back in the day. So, and I do want to mention, just like Rossitter had just said a couple weeks ago on our show, if you didn't catch it with Kyle Rossitter, he was the 30th overall pick for the Florida Panthers. He got about 11 games in the NHL and played a lot in the AHL over Europe. One of the things he talked about, I guess he played in the first Brick Invitational in the Edmonton, Alberta tournament in Canada. So, hey, just to let you know that actually Adam Fantilli also played in the Brick Invitational. So anyone that are in the Edmonton area, and I know we have a lot of folks, what you need to know is that the Brick Invitational is a fabulous tournament to watch a lot of young kids play. Now, by the way, every time I say that and I say, come watch these young kids play, people get all weird. Like, Evan spends too much time scouting out young kids. And I digress, and I pass it over to my partner.
I've never thought that. No, you make some interesting points, and it's definitely going to be a very deep draft, close to what 2015 was, which, had a lot of talent. So I think it doesn't matter who the bottom 5 teams could be this year. And again, it could change immediately, but what we're thinking is maybe Montreal, Arizona, Chicago's been playing. That's old teenagers and not men.
Yeah, when I said 2022.
and so whoever the bottom 5 teams, maybe it's Vancouver. Like, we don't know what's going to end up happening this season. They're getting a good player in the top 5 picks, hands down. They're going to get good players. So
okay,
I'm looking forward to the draft, but I don't want to. I want to pump the brakes because let's enjoy the season that we have now. And
season feasing. Let's enjoy the prospects and build up to them, man. Some people's teams are already worried about. If you're a Vancouver Canuck right now, you want to talk about Fantilli or Mishkov because you're all worried about your season going down the poop.
We all know that Bedard is a big fan of the Vancouver Canucks, and he has the bed sheets, I think, just like and beard. Yeah, he doesn't have a beard.
Okay, welcome, Jordan. Go back and listen to what I said about you. Okay.
He said you're a wonderful human being. So, as an aside, fans,
okay, this is the one you have to see. You went off the air on me a couple times, so you know nothing of internet either. I guess Zil is thinking.
You're right, Zilstra. It's true. I'm just here for the free ratings and the free being able to gossip and yap about hockey. So
okay, hey, let's talk about some more prospects, but they're actually playing in the NHL right now. Let's move over to the Seattle Kraken. Let's talk about Matty Beniers.
Oh, phenomenal! What a player! Seattle fans should be excited to watch this player because he has really grown into his own. I know last year was kind of his first season, but this kid, man, it's electric to watch him play. And I honestly, having him and potentially maybe, Shane Wright in the future when he's really ready to settle in as a 1-2 punch, that team is going to be set.
So what people now, I did tweet about it. I shared it last week. I actually called Matty Beniers. I think will win Calder of the Year for rookies. something interesting, though. I remember when they drafted Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in Edmonton, they talked about how he was a small player. He was 6'1", and he was weighing 179 around the draft time. Okay. Now, Matty Beniers, he's already a year in. Okay. He's 6'2", 175 pounds. Interesting how things change, because by the time Nugent-Hopkins came in, he was weighing 188, 190. And we're dealing with Beniers came in at 172 originally. A lot of smaller players. So anyone that puts value in the poundage, it's quite different over the last 10 years as things have changed in the prep. It's really how strong your core is and so much. But anyway, so it's 5 goals, 4 assists. Now, this is what's interesting. I think that we could bring up about Matt Beniers, as much as I'm a full supporter. He is -8. Now, I don't put a lot of stock in the plus minus, but here's what I do put stock in. The upper players are like -6, -7. Why is he the only one sitting at -8? There are some telltales when you look at an overall aggregate of the entire team congregate.
Is he playing on the penalty kill? Because I haven't watched.
No, but a penalty kill doesn't actually include plus minus, right? It's when you're on the power play and they score on you, then that would be.
Or a regular shift too. If you're on the ice when a goal is scored on 5-on-5.
You just said penalty kill. Is he on the penalty kill?
No, but you're saying it's only on power play, but it's also on 5-on-5.
No, I didn't say the power play till you said the penalty kill. You said, is he on the penalty kill? Yeah. And I'm talking about plus minus. The penalty kill has nothing to do with plus minus. I said if he's on the power play and he gets scored on, then that will be go against them.
No, plus or minus is dictated whether you're on the ice if someone scores a goal for your team or
no. You do not. You do not use. So everyone else, help me educate my friend here. He pays too much attention to the power play. The power play, right? You do not. If you get scored on, it will be used as a minus. But when you're on the penalty kill, it is not a minus while you're on the penalty kill. It does not actually include it in it.
It's even strength. Or it's what's it called?
Penalty kill players do not get a minus if they get scored on while they're doing
that's
a penalty
fine, but
kill.
Even strength is also not just power.
Yeah, but that's what we've been talking about, even strength. And then you brought up
even strength is not power play.
Okay, I think everyone, we should send Pavel back and kind of get him through this. Hey, Les just came on here. He's laughing and crying. I don't know if he's Les. Am I wrong? And do I got to get some help from our trivia man here? How does this work? No, actually, we know. Pavel just gets confused sometimes. Look at him. The guy just woke up from bed. His kid kept him up all night long.
I'm telling you, man. Versus how much was given up.
So I'm wanting to. This is very important. Matty Beniers is struggling on the defensive side of the puck, though. That's my point that I'm wanting to bring up, more so than a lot of other players while he's learning the game. So all I want to say is be patient with Matt as he's learning, because some of his other teammates are not. So if he pushes, they may actually not go back at the same time. And some of his pushing is causing the plus minus for other guys that are playing on his line, including someone like Jordan Eberle occasionally.
Now I have some breaking news I want to share.
Okay.
We talked about it on our Facebook page, and there's been rumblings, and maybe Kevin Francis can speak more about it. I know he's tweeted about it, so give him a follow.
Okay, hang on. If you're moving to a different team, I'm not done with Seattle yet.
Oh, I just said breaking news. You're going to throw out the breaking news? Okay, everyone. Cats on the breaking news.
Let's go to the breaking news, and then we'll come back to Seattle.
Let's go back to Seattle.
Okay, I want to talk about Shane Wright, because we got some breaking news.
Yeah, that's old news.
Okay, what's happening with Shane Wright? People are having a bit of a fit about Shane being, because is it his play? Is it not? Now, the coach is having issues, but not Ron Francis. There is a little bit of rift going on between Francis and Hackstall with should he be on the ice or not. But that's not the bigger issue. The bigger issue right now is they're considering sending him back, but they don't want him to go back to Kingston, who's still building and are not going to be competitive. They are working, and it came out today, unfortunately. Now, Friedman let it out, so it is out there if you go to 32 Thoughts. But Shane Wright, there is 100% chance that he will be in a trade situation.
Yeah.
so that Kingston can load up for the Memorial Cup coming down the road. Now, I knew about this earlier a couple days ago, but of course now it looks like I'm after old Friedman because he gets on more often than I do. Not that any of his folks want to listen to me, but I am telling you, the reason that they're not playing him is they want to be careful with the amount of games so they don't wreck his eligibility for his elite level contract. So consider this. He is almost 90% not going to be playing this full season. They're just trying to work stuff out with another team in the trade, and then he will be going back to the OHL to play for a team that is wanting to be a contender this year and get a push development, which is what should have happened in the beginning. But it's not because he's not really good enough. It's that tweener. And I think this is a good development if this is true.
Well, it's tough to make an impact on the ice if you're playing less than 10 minutes a night, or if you're being a healthy scratch because you're just sitting in the box.
I think it was just under 7 minutes a game.
Oh, yeah. So even worse. Yeah. That's not good for any side. He's already lost a year due to COVID. Why continue to prolong this, right?
Well, Hackstall wants to win. Francis wants Bedard. In fact, I'll just put it up there. There you go. Zill wants the Kraken to get Bedard. But he's worried about how they're playing. Well, don't worry. At least Wright's going to have another year of eligibility hopefully coming in. So, okay, let's go to your breaking news.
Well, it's not so breaking anymore. It's like 5 minutes old, but sure. There is interest in someone purchasing the Ottawa Senators.
Yes.
The expansion. Yes. So the daughters. Daughters.
I'm sorry, I'm just giving you breaking news.
Okay. Okay, TMZ and CNN. But what it comes down to is that there is interest in the team being sold now. There was rumblings about it, whether the daughters of Eugene Melnyk wanted to do it. One was very involved, one not so much. The mom kind of left it up to the daughters, and what to decide what they want to do with it. And what would that mean? Now, Kevin Francis, who was on the episode on the show a few weeks back, he's posted a few things on Twitter, so give him a follow in terms of what he thinks is going to happen. He believes the team is going to stay. But the breaking news is that there's interest of a local Canadian phenom movie star, none other than Ryan Reynolds, who would be interested in a partnership of purchasing.
Interesting.
Now, wouldn't it be sweet and ironic that the guy from Vancouver went in and bought up the Ottawa Senators, or became one of the owners?
Yeah.
But I don't think, and I know you guys can speculate, and Ottawa fans can let us know, I don't think that team is moving.
Now, is Kevin the one that commented on that?
No, Kevin mentioned that they probably won't be moving.
No, did Kevin mention anything on Reynolds?
Ryan Reynolds is interested.
So why don't we send we'll send a message out to one of our sources. We won't tell you who they are, and see what they know.
Well, they're clearly giving me the wrong information.
So let me just throw this in. I heard something. This was not from Kevin. It was from another source that believes. Now, this has not been confirmed, but they believe that this potential owner has now been contacted about the official sale because they knew there was a potential. We joked about it on the show with Kevin Francis. If you didn't see us with that, Kevin Francis is from Hockey Buzz and writes on Oilers Nation. Fabulous stories, really good content. He's solid, guys. Make sure you give him a follow if you want to learn all things. And that is someone that's name sounds close to Ruben. And we're talking Mark Cuban. The
owner of the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes, he's always had an interest. He loves hockey as well, not obviously as much as basketball. As everyone knows him, from the States when it comes into Shark Tank. He loves getting involved in businesses and stuff, but he also loves to have fun. And don't know what that means. That would be to keep them local, though. That would not be to move them, just so everyone understands that. We'll talk about that in a moment. But there's only been some people sending some notes out behind to let him know. And so we'll see if anything takes off. And I mean, this might be totally out to lunch. He may have no interest, but you know what? I'm just going to say it here, Pavel. Mark Cuban, come on. Get in there, buddy. Buy the Ottawa Senators, buddy. They will become a team to reckon with. Woo!
Yeah, and it's interesting when we talk about the sale because there was a release recently. We put it on our Twitter page, so give us a follow about the net worth of a lot of the teams.
Oh,
and
yes.
Of course, as expected, the Toronto Maple Leafs are the number one franchise, in terms of the net worth, what the revenue that they bring in, and from there, kind of, it's almost the original six. They were, and I want to quote so I don't get things wrong, so Les doesn't make fun of me. The New York Rangers came in second, the Montreal Canadiens in third, the Chicago Blackhawks in fourth, Boston in fifth, Detroit in sixth, LA in seventh, Philly in eighth, Capitals in ninth, and Oilers in 10th. And the list goes on and on. You guys can take a look. So it's interesting to know when Eugene Melnyk took over the Ottawa Senators, they were dealing with some financial issues. Yes, Les, keep laughing it up. We are a comedy show as an aside.
It's all good.
But so the team has been worth quite a bit more money, and I think it could fetch up to a price of even $1 billion. So,
wow. Yeah. No, this will be interesting. Okay, I want to touch in on Ottawa. One last thing. I was going to bring this up, and Zilser just had asked this question. So why not move Ottawa to Houston and add a new franchise in Quebec? Okay, so let me touch in on this. Now, Kevin Francis did get involved on this one. So here's the thing. Quebec cannot afford an expansion franchise per se. So they're only going to get a relocation franchise. There will be no new expansion franchises over 32. That's not going to happen in the era of Bettman, at least at this point. Now, if you think about it, if Ottawa was to move, the only logical place would be to keep in Canada and move to Quebec. But that would only be if there is no local ownership to step up and make this happen. And I'm going to say that there's probably a good 85% chance there is good local owners or people to keep them local at least. Because just like Daryl Cates, he may be from the Edmonton area, but he doesn't live there all the time in the same mannerism.
And similar to what people may not have known is that Arizona was propped up for a while when it didn't have ownership for a bit, right? Like the NHL owned that franchise in the mid-2000s. So, they came together and managed that aspect.
Well, and I do want to say this about Gary Bettman. So a lot of people think that Gary Bettman hates Canada and they go on and on. I'm going to tell you that I do not believe that narrative at all. I get why it gets played out, and I say keep running with it. It's drama and it's entertainment. So let's keep it going. Let's keep booing the guy. You're going to boo the new guy too. That's just the way it is. And he has fun with it, even though
Bill Daly.
Yeah, that's probably who it will be. Someone talked about, of course, Bettman leaving, going to the NBA. It's like, well, that didn't happen. But he's going to retire. I mean, the guy's older.
Adam Silver's doing a great job in the NBA.
I just noticed. I just pulled a Bettman. I did this. Watch this. If you're watching me in the camera, I just did this. He's not leaving. Well, that's a Bettman. He rolls his eyes at McLean or whoever when he's doing it.
Is this a Scooby-Doo moment where you take off your mask and it's Gary Bettman?
Or Houston,
no.
We're Quebec. So anyway, if you guys remember, he actually saved the Canadian teams like Calgary and Edmonton back in the day when the dollar was at 60 cents on the American dollar for the Canadian loonie. And so he got involved and made sure that Canada could keep their teams. He will do everything. He was a part of the arena plan to help boost Edmonton when they needed help also back then. He will be a part of the Calgary thing. He'll say he's not, but he'll do everything he can to help make that happen as well. Bettman will do that. He will keep the team in Quebec if it's not going to be in Ottawa. I can guarantee you that. I feel very positive. But I do agree about Houston, and I know people are talking about Arizona. So this is what I think, and I think we're going to have to come to an end here in just a moment. But I do think this is the last shot. They have to get some stuff on paper while this whole arena deal is going down in Arizona. They got to get some things happening, and then we need to see something striking that ground with some deals for that arena to get up, because there's still a lot of work to get done to even make this happen. It's not a done deal yet.
No.
It's not
well,
a done.
The vote now is going out to the public, to the general public of Tempe. So City Council was supposed to vote in November at the end of the month, and they've decided to send it out to the public to see if they're interested not only in the team but also the complex and the amenities and the jobs that come with it. And Zilcha says fire Batman. Well, you can't fire Batman. He works in the middle of the night. But if you're talking about Batman, the owners are the only ones that can do it. And move Arizona. I mean, he's not going to move Arizona. He's been clear that if they get this deal done, he's guaranteeing Arizona for 20, 30 plus years there. So,
yeah. Okay. So, really the bottom line is, if they don't get something done, Houston has always been talked about as the front runner now, in the West, but they are not moving. They got balance West and East. So if Arizona can't get something done, this might be their last effort.
And there's an owner there that is willing to pay that money and has the pockets to do so.
But they'd have to set up a deal with Houston to share with the Houston Rockets of the NBA while they're building a new arena, which could be a problem, because now you're dealing with because I do not believe the owner is the owner of the Houston Rockets, is it?
No, he does some other business.
Problem. Two competing arenas when it comes to concerts and all the other stuff outside.
Well, it's one of the reasons why what's it called? The Phoenix Coyotes or the Arizona Coyotes aren't playing in Phoenix, because they have the Suns there, and the owner did not want the Coyotes playing out of that building where the Suns play.
And my understanding is the owner, and maybe some of our Sports Empire group will know this a lot better with the NBA, is whoever the owner is of the Houston Rockets has no interest in getting involved in hockey. So, which I totally understand, because it's peanuts in money as compared to the National Basketball Association. So definitely that would be something. Hey, weeks ago, did we actually talk about Craig Anderson's new goalie gear this year? And
no, we did not. We did not.
Okay. So if you guys have not, I wish I had time to put it up here for you guys. You got to go check out Craig Anderson's new goalie gear. It was designed by his 11-year-old son, Jake. He crafted the design online, and he even went on to say, so if you have a problem, you can take it up with Jake.
Not the friend of the show, Jake.
Yeah, nothing like throwing your son under the gun and just saying, just rip on my 11-year-old, eh? Zill, and one last point on there. Zill, I'll get your one last statement in here. Zill drives down there all the time, says nothing is happening in Arizona, and I'm there every week. And that's interesting.
That building looks fun. I watched a few of the games that they've had versus the
Rangers we're just talking
versus Winnipeg.
No, I think she's talking about the development, the new stuff happening, right? Yeah. That's what we're talking about. So, I mean, we can go on about Arizona over and over. We need to touch in on some teams coming up here in the next while. I think that maybe next week we'll hit a little bit more on some prospects. Next week, let's also tap in on maybe talking at some pre stuff before we have Columbus Blue Jackets writer come on from Hockey Buzz that has now agreed to come on as well. So now I hope I got your name right, bud. I think it's Zach over at Hockey Buzz. So I just recently met him through Kevin Francis, and he has agreed to come on. We just are trying to set up a date. But I like to talk a little bit more about what's going on down there, and we want to talk about some hockey markets. So if there are places you guys want us to touch in on, a little bit about what's happening, definitely let us know. I think it's time maybe for some LA Kings talk. We haven't been talking about the Kings for a while either. We apologize if we are speaking more to Western Conference teams. We try to get the Eastern Conference in. Just when you live in the Western Conference, we don't live in the Western Conference. We live in the western part of North America, and we talk a lot about the Western Conference because we're on Mountain Standard Time right here, 7:00 every week, right? Leads right in. So how can they follow us, buddy?
Well, they can follow you at Revenev on Twitter, where you have very insightful tweets. And you can follow us at hockey_2, where we like to chat about all things hockey. So you can give each of us a follow. Make sure to check us out on our Facebook page, at Two Guys in Hockey Talk, or as Evan likes to say, Two Guys in Overtime, because we talk way too much and go overtime. And you guys can give us a follow on our YouTube page, which we're always looking for subscribers. It's always fun to check and connect with you guys. And again, message us, comment on us. We try to post stories all the time. We have an Instagram page. We're in the whole shindig. We love it. We love connecting with you guys. We've had some great conversations. We like to be fun, silly, respectful, and talk all things hockey. And I just want to shout out a little blast that I'm going to do a little treat for us. This weekend, I'm doing a little trip to Winnipeg with a little bit of action at Canada Life Center with Jordan, a friend of the show, and some other friends that have attended the show. If you guys know Mike Smith, his son Kelson, he's coming on the trip. So we're going to watch a little bit of hockey in the afternoon, and we're excited. So I'm going to get that video up to you guys sometime on Saturday in the afternoon. It'll be 1 o'clock Edmonton time, Mountain Standard Time, but I know it's Central over there. And I'm looking forward to watching a little bit of hockey in a new arena and exploring the area, as well as seeing the new, I think, Dave Harochuk statue that they put up.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. So I look forward to meeting peeps in Winnipeg.
Yeah, you'll be so one of the groups that works with us and supports us a lot, the Pulse of Hockey over in Winnipeg, guys. Our friend Daryl McMullen. You got to check out their site, what they're doing on the Jets. So we'll give you a little in-depth extra on that next week. So next week he's going to put video on our Facebook. He'll put it live, and then we're going to play a little clip of that on our show next week, so you can see a little bit of what it's like over there. As well as Pavel lined us up with an incredible guest next week out of Edmonton, where we live locally. We are bringing a coach on. Why don't you tell us quickly about him before we call it a wrap?
So we have the very honorable Howie Draper coming on, the U of A head coach for the Pandas women team. He's going to talk all things coaching, prepping, preparing, and kind of how he got to the point where he is at. And he's got a pretty notable history, some championships under his belt. He's been around the world. He's coached Team Canada before. So we're looking forward to picking his brain. So make sure you tune in next Wednesday at 7 p.m. For any questions you may have, because we have a lot, but I'm sure you guys are interested in hearing. So we're pumped about that.
And even send some stuff if you guys are thinking, but this is going to be a great chance. We'll try and get to some of your questions if they're outside of the realm of something we're asking. We have let him know that we do allow questions to come out. And if it's around the area of coaching, now he's not in the NHL, but he understands all things coaching. So understand that.
And to bring it all back to what we started with this conversation at the beginning of the podcast, so you guys can rewind and listen to us again and again and again, is promoting women's hockey. And how can you get involved, whether here in Edmonton or wherever you are watching from in a beautiful area. Maybe it's in Arizona, maybe it's in Europe, maybe it's in Japan, maybe it's in Czech Republic. Wherever you are, support your local teams, because we love that. That's the way grassroots hockey should be.
Yeah, and I just want to say a big shout out to thanks to those over in Europe. There's a few of you following us here right now tonight. So we have over in the is it called Czechia now, I believe, but it shows up as the Czech Republic, Russia, as well as down in the U.S. Thank you guys in Nevada, Florida, New York, and Pennsylvania tonight. You guys are awesome. And of course, there's always a few of you in Ontario trickling in late. But mostly Alberta and British Columbia, guys. Thank you for your support. Now, in the meantime and in between time,
keep your sticks on the ice.
Cheers.
Cheers.